Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me except me.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
Matt's coming. No. When do we start?
Welcome back to the show.
Hello, friends.
I know, it sounds like we just came back from a commercial break. It wasn't. It's been a while.
Yeah, well,
I mean, a normal amount of time.
See, this is my one thing. Sometimes I think about when you open with "Welcome back to the show," is maybe somebody's like been binge listening to the show.
I can't imagine why you would. Half of it's news that's not new or accurate anymore.
Hold on, I'm gonna. Sorry about that.
The double.
I'm allergic to your bullshit. I feel like, well, first of all,
never go back.
If you're binging the show, maybe you're a sadomasochist. I don't know. But I feel like in the history of the show, we've always struggled with a good quality opening outside of what Sound Guy made.
Everything I thought of was inappropriate. All right, let's do this. Well, I got things. I got so many things.
Yeah, well, how was Rhode Island?
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, talk to me about Rhode Island.
We're doing the Rhode Island Roundup.
Ooh, the Rhode Island Review?
And then another thing. It started off kind of bad. Remember how I said I had an amazing spot?
Yes, the corner office.
Subject to change.
Oh, well, oops.
Yeah, I can't confirm this is what happened, but I'm going to go to a limb and say it did. A bunch of the A-list celebrities canceled, so they kind of doubled down on like some C-list ones.
Oh, wow.
Like they were getting like announced like day of.
Like who?
I don't remember now. But
who were some of the A-listers? Because I saw a lot of...
like Mark Ruffalo canceled, John Berthel, who was in Walking Dead, and The Punisher canceled. All of the Walking Dead people that were supposed to be there canceled because they're filming the finale right now, and AMC canceled it on all of them.
Well, that was mean of AMC.
A bunch of other people canceled. Like,
is that the series finale or the season finale?
Season. Oh, that thing ain't ending anytime soon.
But Rick has to die.
Who knows? But, so I think they kind of doubled down on getting like a bunch of other celebrities in there kind of last minute. So I was going to be where a bunch of celebrities were. So they moved me to not a row, not really in anything, just against like a random wall in a corner somewhere where they had to draw a chalk line out where my kind of designated space was. And let that chalk line be a metaphor for the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a dead body?
Yeah. Yes, that was the point. I didn't do as well as I did last year by quite a bit, which is too bad.
Well, is that just because of your location, you think?
I think partially. Overall, the con season was not as good for me as it was last year. I mean, maybe there's some kind of extenuating circumstance within the past year that have made people a little economically shy, but who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But you did get some art signed, I saw.
Yeah, so I mean, there were some highlights to it. I mean, the biggie is I have, from my favorite X-Men run, I had John Cassidy sign a page. And what's always nice when I bring, like, art to things, like, especially, like, art that I really like, it's always nice when you can bring something to an artist and they kind of, like, light up. Like, oh, yeah, like, that was the... Versus you can bring people books. They've seen their own books a million times, but I don't know, there's some people who will just light up at certain things. He's like, I haven't seen this in forever. He was saying, like, this is, like, one of my favorite things because of all this, and, yeah, so that was a nice little talk.
Nice.
Briefly met Joe Sinnott. You've seen some of his stuff. He was Jack Kirby's main inker. He's 91 years old.
Really?
So I was like, I gotta go see Sinnott, because 91.
You know it's on TV now, and I meant to watch it last night, but I got caught up in watching Sports Ball, as you like to call it. It's
never
on...
called it that.
Well, sometimes you do. Touch points.
Those are things you say. I've literally never said that.
No, but I like to make sure people understand that you don't like sports.
I don't dislike sports, I just don't have time.
Oh, well, reasonable, but if it was important to you, you'd find time.
I don't have time for the things I do like.
That's fair
I
enough.
love the things I feel mediocre
I think
about.
it's on History Channel. It's like The Secret Life of Comics or The Secret History of Comics.
There's been a bunch of documentaries.
It's really interesting, though. Hold on, I'm going to Google it real quick. Continue to talk.
All right.
But it was... there was an episode coming up about... And it was being teased on social media, like Stan was going to talk about what happened between him and Kirby.
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff's out there. There's a great book, I've probably mentioned it before. It's called, the Untold History of Marvel Comics. The guy did, insane research. It's a great book that I highly recommend to anyone. I briefly talked to Sean Gordon Murphy and got, I don't really have a ton of books, personally, but I did keep one of the White Knight ones because I'm like, come on, it's Batman in Portland. So I had him sign that, which was, quick in and out, and he's vaguely aware of me. Just because, there aren't that many shops in Maine.
He knows you exist.
Yeah, basically. Kind of the end of that. But the one that really surprised me, and you haven't read any of his work, but you know the guy, Neil Adams. He's a big-time artist. You, I think, probably would know him from the Superman Muhammad Ali book.
Oh, yes.
big time artist, also sometimes writer, but certainly better known for his art. He is very aware of the online market and doesn't mess around. Like, you can get one item signed for $10, any item after that $50. It's like, if you're going to try and turn this online, you're going to pay. It's also going to, deter people from doing that.
Ah, there you go.
Because they're not going to want to pay that kind of money to turn something on the internet.
Here is the show. Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics.
Oh, interesting.
It's 4 episodes. It's going to be 4 episodes in. What's today? The 14th or the 5th? The 14th. Last night was The Truth About Wonder Woman. So it tells about...
Yeah, William Moulton
Masters
and his
which you've told the story about his wife and his mistress was the genesis of
also
Wonder Woman.
A really strong book, too.
And the first episode was The Mighty Misfits Who Made Marvel, about Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. And which aspects started the revolution, Kirby's artwork or Stan Lee's writing and bravado. That was actually on November 12th.
We'll go further back and say
it's on AMC.
But so I go over to Neil Adams, and he's talking to a guy telling a big story. And it's clearly like a rehearsed story. He's talking about like how back in the 70s he was like complaining to DC editorial that maybe Asians don't want to be called pie face.
Perhaps.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But his people, they take I have one Neil Adams book. They take my book and they hand it off to him. They take my $10. And I'm just looking at this going like, this is going to be the single most disingenuous interaction because he's just talking to another guy and they're like putting in front of him like it's just a factory line. But he signs the book and stops the conversation entirely. And I don't remember exactly what he said, but he turned to me, made like dead eye contact. It's like, here you go. Thank you very much for doing this. I hope you enjoy it. It was just out of nowhere, like the most like sincere he possibly could have been. It totally took me off guard. And I don't ever go for the handshake. Did it once with Lou Ferrigno, longest like 7 seconds of my life.
Did he crush your hand?
No, it was just like awkwardly being held out. They're like, "Oh, this isn't a thing we do, is it?"
Oh, yeah. But did he ever make contact?
He did.
But good for him.
But Neil Adams went in for he did the full handshake. All that. I was like, I thought this was gonna just be like, like thanks, bud. But no, he totally stopped, totally sincere. I was totally caught off guard. I was like, oh,
totally.
Yeah, man, thanks.
That's awesome.
So that was cool. So that was kind of Rhode Island. And then I got an email tonight. Apparently I got an email early last week, but I didn't even notice it. Because I get so many like promotional emails, I mostly just like go through my email and hit like mark as read. I get a ton of them. If I read like every promotional email I got, I would spend like 3/4 of my day reading email. I don't have time for that.
No, you should hire somebody to read your email for you.
Should. But I got an email tonight, and I saw it was like a follow-up one. Speaking of Robert Kirkman, some PR company that works for Image reached out to me.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, hey, we read your article that you wrote last December on like the 10 best comics of the year, and we wanted to send you some samples if you were going to do a similar thing this year. Like all Image books. I was like, what the hell is this?
You should have been like, yes, there are plans in the work to do such a thing.
I actually might. Like, if Image Comics or people working for Image apparently think that I have some kind of writer's voice, maybe I'll try it again. Because it's not like I quit the website, I just haven't pitched anything in a little bit.
There you go. Why not?
Yeah, I was kind of like, yeah, sure, send me some free stuff. I'll pitch this article again. So that was weird. It's like, okay, cool.
You're making it in the world, kind of.
No, not really, but it was just kind of weird.
You're like slowly progressing in the world.
But I was just like, oh, thanks.
You made it out the door this morning into the world.
PR company that works for Image. I'll take some free stuff.
Well, it wasn't like, hey, you wrote this
you
hit
son
piece.
of a bitch.
Yeah, you wrote this hit piece on us, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, they were like, maybe you would consider Redneck. I'm like, I do like Redneck. Read that book.
Yeah. Well, I guess a free copy of Redneck can't hurt.
I think it's just going to be PDFs, but...
Oh, well, still.
Material's material.
Yeah.
That was weird, right? It's like, oh.
No, it's not weird. I don't think it's weird. I think it's...
Cool.
It shows that you are starting to generate a little bit of
for
presence.
My articles have hundreds of thousands of views.
That's a lot of clicks.
It was something like 600,000. I don't know. Wow,
600,000 clicks.
I haven't looked in a while. No, I think it's like view per article, not just clicks.
Oh, view per article? Wow.
Yeah.
And getting paid like a quarter-cent per click.
Far less than that.
Oh.
But, yes, I don't know. Maybe I'll pitch another article or two before I definitely can't do it like once February hits.
Oh, because that's when the big thing is starting.
Yeah.
You haven't even told me what the big thing is.
I know. Well, I'm not ready to announce it yet. I'll announce it when it's like, then I have to have like actual like follow through. Like, hey, here's the thing I'm doing.
How many people are going to be, are going to know or be on the end of your big thing?
One person knows right now.
Oh, well, that's easy. Your spouse.
Yeah.
What's their opinion of the big thing?
Yeah, do that. Make some cash.
Is she generally supportive?
Yeah.
Have you? So Karen, show number one fan Karen doesn't know?
No, she actually called me out on it. She's like, what is it?
Oh. Karen, I also want to know what this mystery is.
But yeah, that's kind of Rhode Island in a weird proposition by a PR company that works for Image.
Wow, you've had a busy week.
Yeah, I've said this to you before the show. I've literally not stopped working in the last 6 days. Thursday was all packing for Rhode Island, like getting to bed, trying to get to bed early because I had to be up at like 4 o'clock to leave for Rhode Island. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nonstop. Monday was nonstop unpacking. Today was the same thing. I was just unpacking. I'm not even done yet. And also the order came in, and then I ran home before this show to record another show so I could get that out of the way. I have been straight out.
That's not a bad place to be sometimes. The holidays are upon us. Next week's Thanksgiving.
I know, I haven't even made plans yet. I forgot.
Oh, I love Thanksgiving. Probably my favorite holiday.
It's no Halloween.
No, it's not. It's better.
Forgot to pour a whiskey.
Oh, well.
I'll take care of that. We'll take a pause.
But you have a generous glass of wine.
It's not generous. It's a regular glass.
Well, it's still got some significant wine left in it.
Because it's basically untouched.
Oh, well.
Now I'm going to touch it.
He's touching the wine.
All right. Those are things that happened in my life.
Good.
I assume things happen in yours too, but let's ignore that and move on to the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
Do you want to announce a thing?
I don't really have
a thing.
No, I really didn't. It was a really pedestrian life recently.
Not a terrible thing.
No, I get up, I go to work, I go home, I sleep, I eat.
Hey, you know what I try and do with this show?
What?
Make a bunch of jokes that don't land. But before we do that, let's talk about sexual abuse allegations. That's right, the comic book world is not excluded from this. Yeah, take a drink. Strap yourselves in, because we got a bunch of assholes to talk about.
Oh boy, do I know any of these a-holes?
One of them maybe you'll at least be aware of more than the other.
Okay.
Let's start off with a bigger name, Andrew Kreisberg. He's one of the showrunners on all of the CW TV shows like Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. He has been suspended after 19 people, including 4 men, made allegations of sexual harassment in the workplace. And when reading through these allegations, he just sounds like a massively unfunny, out-of-touch, kind of pervy asshole.
That's no good.
Yeah, it almost felt like he's trying to make jokes, but jokes that land so far off the mark and are just not good for the workplace. Like, one guy talked about, he was talking to someone who was kind of, just leaning on their desk, bent over, and I guess, Kreisberg came up behind him and, started, air humping him, being like, well, if you're inviting me. Things of that nature.
I don't think anyone ever invites you to air hump them.
No, because nothing like some unwanted sodomy in your workplace. But yeah, so he's been suspended. He denies all allegations. But there's enough allegations that all sound real similar that I'm like, yeah, that's sounds accurate.
Once is a poor choice. Twice is kind of creepy. 3 times you're definitely scum.
19?
Once is more than enough. I'm saying in general. Sometimes you'll say something really stupid.
Boy, that's a lot of people.
But okay, so here's my...
Those are just people who have spoken up.
Yeah. Here's my thing about this, all right? And because it's such a prevalent thing in the news. The fact that people are like, well, why are they just coming out now? Don't understand.
Safety in numbers.
Yeah, they don't understand what it's like to be a victim of that. And I don't understand what it's like to be a victim of that terrible act, those terrible acts. The thing that makes me the most upset, especially with obviously the big prevalent story in our country right now is the Roy Moore deal, is the discrediting of people. And it just, all it does is it doesn't empower other people and other victims to want to speak when they should feel empowered to want to speak. So bravo to the brave women who are speaking.
And 4 men in this case.
And yes, and the brave men too.
But yeah, so 19 allegations against Kreisberg. He's been suspended. I imagine he'll be fired. He used to, before he was doing TV, he used to write books for DC. That's when I first saw his name years ago. But now I'm like, well, those books are ruined. And this is a very loose word that I'm using here. The only positive that I'm seeing in this story is apparently the people who run the company weren't aware of these allegations. Unlike our next story. Which is, I think that's a kind of a big problem.
Yeah, it might be.
DC editor who's been with DC for, I forget how many years now, a couple of decades.
That's at least 20 years.
Yeah, maybe more. I don't remember off the top of my head now. Eddie Berganza has been fired following claims of sexual abuse against women in DC. It came out last week. First he was suspended and then he was fired. Basically, he liked to grope people and kind of, at random, shove his tongue down unsuspecting people's throats. on a fairly regular basis.
That's not comfortable at all.
No, so he was fired, and DC put out a statement like, this kind of behavior is unacceptable, like, we can't allow this in our company. Except it also came out that CEO Bob Harris was aware of this, and when women would complain, like, I can't work with this individual, he'd be like, well, just try and keep a safe distance and crap like that.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, so at least compared to, like, the people working over on the CW shows, if the higher-ups didn't actually know about it, the guy who runs DC did know about this.
That's not a good look.
And it kind of reinforces, in the women they were interviewing for the article where it broke, they're like, it kind of reinforces this idea, both in the fandom and the professional side, that comics is a boys' club. No, not a good thing.
No, not a good look. Not a good look at all.
So I'm glad he's fired. Clearly way too late. That's been my pet. I shouldn't say.
But the problem is nothing's going to happen to the CEO.
No, but I've noticed that as a pattern of recent. It's like once it becomes public, then it's like, okay, now you gotta go.
Yeah.
Party
so time's over.
So now that we've started with 2 negatives, let's go to a positive. As, again, using that word loosely, in terms of sexual abuse scandal.
There's more?
There's one more, but I saved the good one for last.
Is there such a thing as a good one?
This is also unconfirmed, probably for legal reasons, may not be true, but it seems to be pointing in the truish direction.
Oh, is this the Gal Gadot story?
That is the one, so I'm trying to end it with a positive.
Okay.
Gal Gadot.
She's going to refuse to be in the next Wonder Woman movie, right?
Yeah. Brett Ratner, who has been accused of sexual abuse and harassment, including Ellen Page, who came out this week, told someone on the set of X-Men The Last Stand, another female character, to f*** her until she realized she was gay, because she hadn't come out at that point, clearly, because she was 18. Also referred to some women on set as having flappy p***. So, class act.
Wow, you can't say that.
No, he's also said some stuff in public about, like, his amazing sperm count and how it's amazing how, he didn't knock up Megan Fox and other weirdness. He's a real shitbag.
I've said some really messed up stuff in my time that I totally regret.
Brett Ratner's the worst. So when
I don't think I've ever used the term flappy p***.
Yeah, so... I mean, I know, at least, I'm sure I wasn't the only one. People were like, Brett Ratner's been accused of sexual abuse. I was like, no, him. How? Not really. How could we ever have seen this coming? Guy who's publicly the worst. But his production company, Rat Pat Productions, was one of the producing companies who worked on the first Wonder Woman, and supposedly, there has not been a statement from Gal Gadot or Brett Ratner, but supposedly Gal Gadot will be refusing to return to the role if his production company is involved in any way, shape, or form.
Good for her.
Also, why isn't she already signed? I feel like Warner Brothers should have learned from Marvel's mistakes with Downey Jr. You get people signed up for good deals, so you don't have to pay them more and more and more and more. Like, something like 30% of Avengers is just paying out Downey.
Smart on his part.
Oh, yeah, no, he's fine. He's fine for life. He's fine for a few lifetimes.
He's all set now.
Yeah. He couldn't blow through that money if he tried.
He tried really.
He probably could, but
He's tried really hard in the past, but he's clean and sober now.
So, good for her if this is true. Absolutely use that power for good.
Yes.
And to keep people like Brett Ratner away.
Even a name like that just seems...
Yeah.
It screams white van with candy.
He's gross. Just like Google Brett Ratner sperm count and you'll get yourself one weird-ass interview.
Nope.
You can just see things he's publicly said, and when it's like, yeah, he's been accused. Like, yeah.
You've had me Google
Shocking.
some weird stuff on the show. That would be up there, and I'm not going to do it.
So, that's the last one, so, I'm taking that one as a positive. It's just, I am enjoying Gal Gadot more and more just as a person. Like, she seems to be, like, this, like, real skyrocket to fame. She seems to be dealing with it really well and using it really positively. So, great. And also bringing in someone who's now becoming, like, an international star. Fantastic. Like, across the board, I like her.
I loved what she did. She was on, like, a talk show with her husband, or no, it was, like, an Instagram post. It was her husband wearing a shirt saying, "My wife is Wonder Woman."
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. But there's that. So let's move on. Yeah, hopefully this is the one and only time we have to talk about sexual abuse on this show.
Let's hope.
We can't ignore it.
No, it's unfortunately...
Especially, like, it always feels like maybe comics are, like, a less recognized medium. It's happening in this world, too. It's not relegated to just Hollywood or politics. It also goes in here, which isn't great, but...
But I think, again, it only scratches the surface.
There have been people in the comic book world in the past who have been accused of sexual harassment, and I'm kind of curious if we're going to see some more stories come out about certain individuals who have had past things come up, but we'll see what happens. I can't speculate against things that don't exist yet. Star Wars. Big Star Wars news this week.
Oh, yes, please.
Did you not see this? It was massive. Rian Johnson, director of Episode 8, is going to be developing another Star Wars trilogy. They were very clear to not use the words like saga, so it could just be like another random like kind of fill-in movies. But he's going to be directing the first one and kind of overseeing a new trilogy of films. And also there's probably a live-action TV series coming. Is
it going to be better than the Christmas special?
That's this year.
Oh, we have to watch that this year.
Yes. You're really underreacting to this news. This is, not that big of a surprise.
I'm not underreacting.
Doing Star Wars movies forever.
Yeah, we kind of knew that when Disney bought the property, that we were going to be in a world of perpetual Star Wars. But like we've said, is it too much of a good thing?
I think I'd like to have kind of a break in between them. Or, and I'll be curious what your thoughts on what you would like it to be like. I'd be okay with it not being like another kind of saga, but kind of scale it back, do something small scale. And do something in between episodes 6 and 7, because that's kind of an untouched ground right now. I know last year I did a full Star Wars rewatch, like when Rogue One happened.
Yeah.
And the thing that kind of felt the strangest to me was going in between episodes 6 and 7, because in our world, like, time had passed, so then when you see, like, all the older characters, it was kind of, like, a big deal. But you just watch them right in a row, all of a sudden they're just old and it feels like no time has passed. So I think creating kind of a gap in there,
filling in maybe Luke trying to restore the Jedi Order.
You don't even need to, like, deal with them. Like, just do something that happens after 6, like the rebellion becoming the resistance and the First Order rising up or something. Or even do something totally different. Do something, what are the worlds of Star Wars? Bounty hunters, smugglers, and moisture farmers. I said bounty hunter. Stop poking him.
Yeah, but I'm thinking maybe we get a little Boba Fett.
That movie was already supposed to happen under Josh Trank until he screwed up the Fantastic Four.
Well,
and then it got canned.
Still could be more. I don't know. But Boba Fett still would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
What about like a prequel, like the really way back,
like Knights of the Old Republic?
Knights of the Old Republic kind of stuff.
I know people have kind of clamored for that. I'm not a fan about going back. I'd rather move forward, is always kind of my take.
Yeah, I guess
that's just me personally.
We don't need to fill in some of those pieces, I guess, way back.
Like, I don't care.
I'm just trying to think of what are the,
or what's up with Yoda's weird speech patterns.
What are the stories you could tell, though, and what are the stories worth telling, I guess?
You can, that's something that we saw in Rogue One. Tell stories of other characters not connected to the main story. This is a massive, expansive universe. The whole damn thing existed in books and comics for like 30 years just because people were clamoring for that stuff.
So maybe we look at like...
And, even the comics, there's so much going on in there. You could spin off some of that stuff. Or
like how the man on the street's reacting to what's going on.
There's even some great new characters that have come out of the comics that are in canon now. I can't imagine they would like adapt it or even like do things, but there's a great book out that's not doing as well as it should. Dr. Aphra, who spun out of the first Darth Vader series, who was like his secret assistant, and now she has her own title, and it's all about her being like Space Indiana Jones with an evil C-3PO and R2-D2. They're real murdery.
Really?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, wow.
Especially the C-3PO, and they both are. They're both just so murdery. They love to murder.
Human cyborg terminations.
Yeah, no, he's all about it. I don't know. That's my vote. Do something between 6 and 7 to just create some space in the narrative. Because, most people who are, including me, I don't do most of the, what you want to call it now, expanded universe or like supplementary material. I do the comics, but I don't touch the books. I haven't seen Rebels. I haven't seen Clone Wars.
I think that the problem you might run into, though, gapping 6 and 7, is going to be, well, you have to include some talk about Luke, Leia, the formation of whatever came out of...
Yeah, but it's literally a galaxy. You don't just run into everyone inside of a galaxy.
So you want to know what happens between 6 and 7? Well, you've got to address the return, like literally address the return of the Jedi and Luke trying to generate the Jedi.
But we're going to get that in 8.
We're going to get how it spectacularly failed.
Yeah, he's going to punch his way out of a fallen temple.
Yeah.
Old man punch.
Well, in his defense, it's a robot arm.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so that's the thing. Also a live-action TV show. We'll see what's going on there. I'd watch that if it's good.
Yeah.
But the problem is, because Disney owns ABC, it's probably going to go on ABC. So, unless they do it through their over-the-top streaming service, maybe that's one of the things that they do to get people to switch over. Not like people aren't going to do it anyway. I was going to do it anyway. How could you not?
What?
Disney owns everything.
Oh yeah, you've got to have to join the Disney streaming service.
I know, right? Speaking of things that are growing, let's go to things that are dying. The Dark Universe is probably dead.
Oh no. Is it going dark?
The Universal Monster one.
Oh no.
Yeah, so they made it one movie in. The Mummy starts with like a 20-second logo, like saying like
With
Dark Universe.
Well, didn't you show me that?
Probably.
Or it was like a teaser trailer.
Yeah, I showed you, but like after it goes like Universal Pictures, then it flies back out. It says like Dark Universe. Like they're really, hubris at its most extreme. The main people behind it, Alex Kurtzman and Chris Morgan, have both left. So it sounds like this movie franchise is dead. Also, stop giving Alex Kurtzman work. He's kind of the worst. I don't know as a person. Actually, I kind of do know as a person. He's kind of a jackass.
Wow, there it is.
Well, he was one...
You get one email from one PR company and you start flexing a little muscle on the show.
Well, he was a guy who got into like argument on forums. He wrote or was one of the co-writers on Star Trek Into Darkness, and people were pointing out the flaws of the movie. And he started getting these like vapid arguments with people, and it was like, this is why I write movies and you don't. Just people like, the movie had some problems. Like the magic blood was kind of weird. Rehashing Wrath of Khan was kind of weird, and he freaked out on the internet. Kind of a jackass. He also used the magic blood thing twice, because he also did The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which also had magic blood.
Maybe magic blood's the new thing.
I haven't seen The Mummy, but there might be magic blood in it. I don't know. Just assuming.
I wonder if I googled, is there magic blood in the Mummy, what would come up?
I don't know. But yeah, so the Dark Universe is probably dead, to the shock of no one.
Well, that's kind of sad, though. You were kind of excited for that, weren't you?
Yeah, but I even haven't red boxed it yet because everything was so abysmal. I'm like, why would I even bother? Like, I still have the old movies if I want to get into that stuff. I don't need to have it updated. If it's crap, why am I going to spend, $2 in 2 hours of my life? So I haven't even seen it.
So as I'm typing in, is there magic blood? Here's some, the first 3 responses. Is there magic blood in the brain, in chocolate milk, and in steak?
Well, I want to know the answers, but I think they're all no.
Oh, is there magic blood in my urine? Is another one that just came up.
What the hell?
Oh, here we go. Is there magic blood in the Mummy 2017? No, doesn't really.
Oh, good. He moved away from that trope.
Doesn't really say, but it doesn't mean it isn't. 5 reasons why Tom Cruise's The Mummy disintegrated at the box office.
So, I mean, he's...
Wonder Woman.
He's a bad writer. This is his first directorial job. Apparently a bad director.
Critics. The Dark Universe hasn't caught on yet.
Stop giving him work, I guess, is the point here.
Nothing about magic blood.
Oh, good.
Doesn't mean there wasn't there. I want to know more about magic blood in the steak and brain.
Friend of the show, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, The Rock. I can smell what he's cooking.
His character in DC, Black Adam, which was announced forever ago, but nothing's happened yet.
With Shazam, right?
Yeah, he may be making his premiere in Suicide Squad 2, or that's the rumor.
Black Adam?
Probably just a cameo, maybe a villain. Who knows? Maybe none of that's true at all. Maybe it's not, which is basically everything. It's either is or it isn't. I don't know which one, but that's the rumor.
I love The Rock.
Yeah, just throw him in a thing.
He's so charismatic, and he's like, everything he touches seems to turn to gold recently.
And he never really does villain roles.
No.
I mean, occasionally, but as a whole, I mean, sometimes he's a Tooth Fairy. Sometimes he's a Scorpion King.
Sometimes he's a gym buff who helped people kill people.
I don't know what that one is, but I'm just going to go with it.
Pain and Gain.
Oh, it's like, or anything, I guess.
Total criminal in Pain and Gain. Who has his toe blown off, robs a bank, and starts a bunch of coke.
Did you ever see The Other Guys?
Yes.
I love him in the beginning of that movie with Sam Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
That's so funny. Just jump off the building and die.
Oh,
that's a funny movie.
Good movie.
Last week, we brought up quite fearfully that Lord of the Rings might be picked up at Amazon, and that happened.
It's true. It's going to be a prequel.
Which, I mean, we talked about this a little bit, too. The only movie rights they own are for The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. They don't own any of the supplementary material, can't reference it, can't do anything with it. So they kind of got to work within the frame of those 4 books, which we've seen over 6 movies that last 90 hours.
90 hours?
No, that's an exaggeration.
Oh.
It's more like 18.
Yeah, more along the lines of 18.
Wow, that's still a lot of hours.
That's the better part of a day.
Jeez. Let's marathon that. No pee breaks.
Oh.
No sleep breaks.
It can be done.
No, it can't.
Without the pee breaks. If you had pee breaks, it could be done.
Yeah.
Here's my problem, is if you can't reference any of this...
Do you want that to be a new segment of the show? Jared with, here's my problem.
Oh, well, no, I don't want to monopolize the show. You can't reference the source material, and there's plenty of source material. You got the appendices in the Lord of the Rings books that you might be able to draw some stuff from in the prequel, but I think it's going to have to address Aragorn. It's going to have to address The Rise of Sauron. But there's only so much stuff you can do in between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Because it was, 60 years?
Well, I mean, here's the other thing about, like, the Silmarillion.
It's not even 60 years, is it?
It's really boring. It's like reading the Bible. It also, so I kind of equated it to, like, these kind of, like, short kind of vignettes of little things that are just small and kind of dull to read.
Isn't it? Like, it's a pretty hefty book, too.
Oh, yeah. It's just real boring. I've read it. Don't recommend it.
Like, there's no plot to it. There's no...
I mean, some of it's kind of funny. Like, they talk about, like, the creation of all the different races, and, like, the dwarves were created because, like, the gods thought they just looked funny.
Oh, good for them.
So stuff like
Reasonable.
that. Like, we made, like, these beautiful, elegant elves, and there's people like, we made these trees, the Ents, that were, like, rule the force, and there's people like, it would be funny.
Short people.
Some short guys.
Short guys with axes and beards.
That's hilarious.
You know
That's
you know
probably
what
my favorite part of that book, though.
You know what we're going to get in the prequels? Tom Bombadil.
Don't care.
You had some strong opinions on Tom last week.
Yeah, but whatever. This is happening. It's on Amazon. For those of us who have Amazon Prime, so most of the world, I guess, you'll be able to, watch that. Which I'm bad mouthing it now. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, you are.
I know. Damn sucker for that.
Is Peter Jackson going to be involved?
Can't imagine. I mean, he was barely involved with the Hobbit movies until the last minute. What with all of the suing.
Because that was going to be Guillermo del Toro.
Which, yeah, would have really preferred to have seen his version. But, neither here nor there, I guess.
Yeah, we got Lord of the Rings Redux, pretty much.
Over at Sony, who, are really trying to milk this whole Spider-Man franchise without Spider-Man in it, have a Morbius the Living Vampire movie in development, one of Spider-Man's villains.
Okay.
But he's really tortured about being a vampire.
Oh, shucks. You poor thing.
So now they're doing Venom, the Silver Sable Black Cat movie, and now this.
So it's a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man, so they can say, oh, we're making Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, at least do the Venom one and see if it works. Stop overextending yourselves. You did this twice before. They did it back with the Sam Raimi trilogy. They had already announced 4, 5, and 6 by the time 3 ended. And then clearly the Amazing Spider-Man one, they had done like 3, 4, 5 were announced, a Sinister 6 movie. I honestly forget now because it's, a dead universe I've kind of forgotten about. But you've already done this twice before of overextending yourself before you actually see if you have something on your hands. Do one good thing, then build out from it. But, crazy talk, I guess. Ugh. Let's do one more movie thing.
Yes.
And then we're on to comics.
All right. This is a long news segment
I know.
tonight.
My God, it was. Yeah, lots of news this week. By the time the show comes out, the reviews will probably be out, but as we're recording, there's still an embargo on Justice League until literally the day before it comes out.
Which is tomorrow.
Yeah, the embargo is going to end on Wednesday. The movie is going to start coming out Thursday night. So never a good sign.
No, although, like you said, they did the same thing with Wonder Woman.
Well, I think they thought Wonder Woman was going to be a flop.
Wrong.
Yeah, no kidding. It's usually a sign. If there's an embargo on a movie to, like,
the 0
right on
hour.
the line, yeah, it's probably not a good sign. But there have been early Twitter reactions, which apparently don't count as reviews. They're just, like, quickie reviews.
Well, now you get 280 characters to express yourself.
Yeah, I don't really care. Some people cared. It doesn't really affect my life. But the earlier reactions were all very among the same lines, which was kind of sad to read just how, like, similar everything was. They're all like, it's kind of a mess, but it's fine. A few people said they loved it. A few people said they hated it, but most of them were just like, yeah, it's fine. But
Better than Suicide Squad?
yeah, everyone was like, it's better than Batman v Superman. Structurally all over the place, but it's fine. Supposedly, the digitally removed mustache is really obvious.
Like, is it like bad Photoshop?
Yeah, like, I don't have the tweet in front of me, but it's just like, deep into the uncanny valley with how obvious the digitally removed mustache is. So I'm looking forward to being like, that's a mustache scene. That's really what I want the most out of this movie, is to be able to identify every scene where Henry Cavill's mustache was digitally removed for the cost of $25 million.
Remind me again why he couldn't just shave his mustache.
Because he is the villain in Mission Impossible 6, and Paramount got into a pissing contest with Warner Brothers, said you can have him back, but he 100% cannot shave that mustache. So Warner Brothers had to drop $25 million strictly on mustache removal.
Well, I mean, like, if you're Henry Cavill, you're like, I'll just shave, it'll grow back.
I think their lawyers just got into a pissing contest.
Like, you do not shave that mustache.
Yeah, you keep it. So,
did we ever see set pictures of him with the mustache?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I'd love, those must be gold.
But I mean, you can see what the mustache looks like. There's been images released of Mission Impossible 6. It's a big old porn stash.
Fact check the show.
Yeah, you can just look it up, but...
Should I look up Henry Cavill porn stash?
I mean, you can just look at mustache. You'll probably see some, like, mocked up photos of him in the Superman suit, but you kind of find real photos from Mission Impossible 6. So yeah, I can't wait to see his fake mustache.
Type Henry Cavill into Google, you get Henry Cavill Superman, Henry Cavill mustache. Oh wow. Henry Cavill reveals how his mustache was removed in Justice League.
Digitally.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Glad I solved that.
Oh, they kind of wax it up. Interesting. They kind of cover it over as much as they can.
But historically, not the first mustache that's had to be removed within DC live-action continuity. Cesar Romero, the first Joker, famously refused to shave his mustache, so they just painted over it.
Huh. Well, you can see that,
Yeah, but comparatively, that didn't cost $25 million.
No.
$25 million for a mustache.
That's a lot.
That has to be the most expensive mustache in the history of mustaches. Right? There can't be a pricier one.
It's definitely up there.
Alright, that's the movie news. Comic book news. Not a ton, so we're moving quick through it. Marvel has teased the wedding of the century happening next June. Nothing beyond that. They showed a bunch of images of famous weddings like Reed Richards and Sue Storm, Jean Grey, and Scott Summers, and a few other images. But supposedly a big wedding is a-coming. Celebrate good times, y'all.
Everyone goes to the wedding for the food and the music and the reception.
No one goes for the food.
Especially not to your wedding. Actually, the food wasn't bad at your wedding.
Out of your mind. Pizza truck.
It was really good, actually. It wasn't terrible.
It was the best I've ever had.
I found the picture of him with the mustache and the super suit. There you go, right there.
It's not real. Come on.
You know what? Not bad.
Coming out of...
Oh, this one's definitely real.
Yes, definitely real. Coming out of Justice League and Aquaman, and also we'll be seeing her in the upcoming Justice League movie and Aquaman movie. Aquaman's lady Mira is going to be getting her own solo series. It's fine. She's a good character. I like her a bunch. Also a solo series coming out, Lockjaw, the Inhumans dog.
Good for the Lockjaw dog.
What I want to know about him is because, and I'm sure this answer is out there and I've never actually looked into it, all the Inhumans are humans who go through this whole process of discovering their powers and blah, blah, blah. Does that mean the dog was a person?
Definitely sounds possible.
Because he has powers. Was the dog a person and now he's just the dog?
That would be a really big time fall from grace.
I'm sure the answer's out there. I've always just never looked it up because I want to live in that weird vague, are you a person?
Are you real? Are you a thing?
I mean, no, he's not. It's
a
comic. Following the news that Brian Michael Bendis was heading over to DC to sign an exclusive contract, Jonathan Hickman has been teasing that he might be heading that direction as well.
Exclusivity.
We haven't read any Hickman stuff on the show, but quick summary. For about 5 years, he was Marvel's golden boy. They backed that horse hard, and he kind of led their entire universe for a while. He was with the company for more than 5 years, but they seemed to really push his narrative for 5 consecutive years. I mean, even some of the stuff we're going to be seeing in the upcoming Infinity War is right out of his stuff. Not just that, one series from the 90s, but the, what do they call it, the Obsidian Order or something, all of Thanos' kind of generals, that's all his stuff.
Yeah.
But he's been hinting that he might be heading over to DC. He left Marvel in, tail end of 2015, and he's been working, doing independent creator-owned stuff ever since then, but now he's saying, hey, it's not just Bendis, baby. DC's getting all the Marvel stars, except for Jason Aaron.
Yeah.
He stays.
Well, decent.
But that's the thing. So from there, that wraps up the news. And let's move on to our pre-Justice League. Gerard's reading Corner. I became French.
Not very well, actually. It was terrible.
Intro.
It's Jared's reading corner.
Intro over.
Your wife is a French teacher, and you can't even come up with a good French accent.
Look, I only know French from Pepe Le Pew.
That's not really French.
Well, then I'm not really French either. Thank you.
Well, with a last name like Bowen, I wouldn't expect you to be French.
So this week, in preparation for Justice League, we're doing the most important member of said Justice League, the Batman.
It's not Aquaman? My man.
Yeah, that brings back flashbacks.
Bad ones.
Yeah. And also, the 15th anniversary of one of the most popular, famed, and critically acclaimed, books.
Why are you saying acclaimed like it wasn't?
I was trying to think of a funnier word, but I just stuck with acclaimed.
Critically praised?
Yeah, well, it's not funnier, it's just praised. I don't know why I'm yelling at you, I couldn't think of one either.
This is not my fault at all.
We're moving on, we're doing Hush. Written by current head of Marvel TV, Jeff Loeb, and one of the heads of DC, James Lee. No one's ever referred to him as that.
No, I was going to say his name is Jim Lee.
Yeah, I don't even know if his name is James, honestly.
And yeah, Scott Williams also involved.
The inker. He does a lot with Jim Lee.
If you ever watched Chasing Amy, he's a tracer.
God, that was so derivative towards inkers. I think that did more harm for the inking community than anything else ever has.
It's a funny scene, though.
It is, but it's so wildly untrue.
I know, but I think that's what Kevin Smith was bringing attention to.
Yeah, I mean, boy, yes, there are good and bad inkers out there. I don't have, and I'm sure there are people out there who do, there are very few inkers that I can identify by their style. There's a couple, but I mean, it's unfortunately an underappreciated art form.
Inking?
Yeah, because I mean, their job is more to enhance the stuff that's there. So it's easy to tell when it's bad inking, but
What if they screw up when they're inking the page?
white out.
So they have
Or
to...
it depends on how things are being done now. A lot of people, and it's a positive and a negative in some ways. A lot of things are done digitally now. Or you might even have two totally separate sheets. Like, you might have, back in the day, like, you'd have to have a pencil page. Like, most people worked out in New York. You would pencil a thing, you'd hand it over to the inker, they would ink a thing. Or even at a certain other point, you would pencil a thing and mail it to the inker, and then they would do it. But now a lot of stuff is, you can be all over the country. You can, or out of the country, pencil a thing, scan it, send it to the inker will print it out. Or they might just do the inks digitally. There's all kinds of different methods these days.
Oh, wow.
Which, selfishly, as a mild art collector, I'm not a fan of the digital stuff because I like to be able to like have the tangible thing.
You like the actual physical property.
Yeah, but I mean that's just because I like hanging art.
Fair enough.
You say as you look at a wall of art.
Yeah, your FCBD poster fell down though. I see.
Oh yeah, that frame is broken.
Yeah, so there's also a hole in your wall now.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah.
I do see that. It's actually quite robust.
Look, I'm just gonna put the nail like a tenth of an inch over. No one will know it's there.
No, because you're gonna cover it up with the
yes.
Except for it won't actually be like exact in line with the with the frame above it.
Well,
because it'll be off.
They have a bunch of different notches in there, so I think I can probably.
You think you can get it to balance on it the right way?
Yeah, you really. Yes, there's a small hole in my wall. Thank you.
It's not, I wouldn't call it small. It's not big. It's not like, somebody like busts through it, but it's definitely noticeable.
Well, yeah, because there's nothing in front of it. We're moving on.
Why don't you just go with like a little bit above it and you could still stay in line?
I might. We'll see. I haven't done it yet because I also haven't replaced the frame.
Or you could put a little plaster in there, a little compound, a little joint compound will take care of that. You're going to cover it up anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't done anything
Home
yet.
improvement segment with Jared is...
This was a guess that literally happened last night. I haven't had time.
Oh, okay.
Because I accidentally knocked it, fell down, it's a whole thing.
Well, it was within the last week, so...
It was last night. I just identified it was last night.
Well, no, I was saying I haven't seen your wall since last week, so... Anyway.
We're talking about Hush, not the barely noticeable hole in my wall.
I think it was a fun little side trip.
Just talk about Hush. It's a thing.
Yes, starring Batman.
Yep.
Yeah, you like that? Well, we did discuss it. You said he was the most important member of the Justice League. What would you like me to say?
Well, you kind of detracted from my thought of this book because a lot of, one of the questions I get asked most often in the store is, hey, I'm new to this. What would you recommend? For me, Hush is a book that I point to a lot because it gives you almost all of the Batman villains that are out there, most of his supporting cast, and kind of gives you a good overview of the world, and also gives you a detective story, which, especially like the more mainstream side of like movie and television, certainly gloss over.
Well, Batman is the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't see that, like in the more mainstreamy stuff. So I was like, pick up Hush. Hush has kind of everything. It's all a Batman. It's a lot of DC in there. But you came over, you were like, what the hell was this?
It was so much. I think, trying to compile it all, and like I don't have like a ton of time to like read to enjoy when I do this. Like I binge read it. So that's part of it, probably.
The mystery. Who's the killer? It is a murder mystery.
It is a murder mystery. Don't get me wrong, it was enjoyable. I love the art, I love the story and the storytelling. I think it's just a lot happens. A lot happens in a short period of time.
Yeah, this is basically 12 issues, and within those 12 issues, you get at least one major Batman villain per issue. They mostly get one issue per book. That's not, exact, but as a whole, the quick gist of it is Batman's sad, and then he gets happy, and then he gets sad again.
So typical Batman.
But beyond that, what happens in the book?
I'm morose Bat. No, I'm happy Bat. It starts off, do you want me to go like with spoilers or non-spoilers or just kind of gloss over some things?
We don't need to tell them who the killer is, but you can...
Well, it starts off with Batman saving a kid in the sewers from Killer Croc. And apparently there's some money involved somehow, some way for the capture of Killer Croc. So upon capturing...
Well, he's a killer.
Well, yes, it probably, So upon capturing said Killer Croc and saving the young boy, guess who comes in? Everyone's favorite villainous Serena Pyle. Is it Serena Pyle?
Selena Kyle?
Selena Kyle, whatever.
I'm leaving that.
Whatever.
You live with that, Serena Pyle.
Is Serena Pyle even a real person?
No!
I'm going to Google.
Stop
Serena
Googling
Pyle. I
things.
want us to Google Serena Pyle. Anyway.
Catwoman shows up, grabs the cash, runs away, and Batman's like,
hey, that's my money.
not today.
Where are you going with my money? I'm only Gotham's richest person, but I need this money. And unfortunately for Batman, as he's swinging very Spider-Man-like through the rooftops of Gotham chasing Catwoman, somebody cuts the line, the bat cord, and he really should have fallen to his death.
He has special armor in there. He does get a, massive brain injury.
Yeah, he does have a TBI, and he also has a fractured skull, a dislocated shoulder. And here's one of my moments of suspension of disbelief. Doesn't really work out. So Oracle's able to find him, and the other chick,
Huntress.
The
other chick.
She throws him in the back of the Batmobile. This guy has legitimate trauma, and she picks him up and throws him in the Batmobile, and the Batmobile drives itself back to Alfred, who's like, yeah, you are kind of screwed up. So Batman Morse codes with his hand. Thomas is like, oh, your father, you're going to join him, aren't you? Oh, wait, no, not the Thomas we're thinking of.
But a new character, a Dr. Thomas Elliot, who we learn was Bruce's best friend as a child.
And renowned neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
Convenient, very plot. They use Ex Machina in the maximum.
And they have a lot of flashbacks of their childhood, which mirror things that are happening currently in the book. And they do that weird rhyming thing. They're like, stick a needle in your eye, and they punch each other in the face a lot. Like the best of friends do.
Yes.
What with the face punching?
There is actually someone named Serena Pyle.
I'm sure there's someone. Great. So glad you took the time to look that up.
They live in Fall River, Massachusetts.
I've been there. I lived there.
Anyway, back to the story at hand.
I went back to my old bar this weekend because I was only 10 minutes away.
Oh, wow. How was that?
The same.
I've heard stories about this bar. So anyway, I love the flashback sequences. They're kind of ethereal kind of colors. They're blues and grays.
It's like sepia tone, but blue.
Yeah, I
don't know how to describe it. I'm bad at that.
So anyway, well, things are good for Bruce Wayne, and somehow Jimmy Olsen gets in to get a photo of him in the hospital with his head all wrapped up.
Post-brain surgery.
Yes. So Killer Croc is having a conversation with Batman.
In Arkham.
Apparently Batman's a quick healer.
I don't think he's that quick of a healer. I just think he's an idiot.
There's probably a little bit of all of that in there.
He's like, I'm wearing my super Kevlar protected bat suit. Nothing can get to my traumatic brain injury.
But regardless...
A bunch of things get to it.
Yeah.
What with all the being punched in the head.
Yeah, especially where Batman's in Arkham and Killer Croc escapes Arkham again and wants to kill everyone. So I can see why he gets the name Killer Croc. Really not, it's pretty apropos.
I mean, kind of the quick gist without kind of hitting villain for villain, beat for beat. The majority, or I shouldn't say the majority because there's a lot more, but Batman's biggest villains all come out. We get Killer Croc, Catwoman, Poison Ivy.
Catwoman is a consistent thread though. Killer Croc after the beginning.
We'll talk about Catwoman.
Yes, after that gone. Poison Ivy's in the first third, and then after that she's really not as a big of a factor.
Harley Quinn, the Joker, Clayface, Ra's al Ghul, and the rest. I'm sure I'm missing some. The Riddler's
The Riddler plays a prominent role.
Am I missing anyone?
You got Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Did you get Talia Ghul?
Oh yeah, Talia's in this. Two-Face is in this.
Two-Face is in this.
Scarecrow's in this. Boy, they're all over the place. It's the majority of Batman's villains. They all get a relatively big role to play.
But every issue, it's a different villain.
Yeah, and Batman figures out that they're all kind of working for one big thing. And we are introduced to a new villain. But let's talk about some of the main plot points. Batman and Catwoman have a little bit of hanky-panky in there.
Yes, they do.
What'd you think about that?
Oh, I mean...
Side note, they're currently engaged in the series of Batman that's happening right now.
Oh, maybe that's the big wedding. Oh, it was Marvel.
Yeah, so no.
Maybe Marvel...
That'd be funny if Marvel's the biggest wedding.
Maybe
Batman.
Maybe Marvel's crashing the party.
The Amalgam Universe comes back.
Oh, no! It makes sense. There's always been a tension between Batman and Catwoman. So, from what I understand, there's always been that tension between them.
Yeah.
So you had that. Poison Ivy, she had some time. She got some fun in.
Oh yeah, she definitely mind controls Superman and has sex with him. They don't explicitly say that, but that 100% happens.
Yeah, that happens fast too.
She's like, "You're mind control. Let's do this."
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like the Catwoman thing. I like that Bruce tries to get someone in his life, and like he explicitly trusts her. He goes as far as to reveal his identity to her, which the rest of the Bat family is not big on. They're like, really?
Catwoman?
Yeah.
She can't be trusted.
I like that Dick is super supportive of it, though. He's like, come on, man, if it makes you happy. And we get one of my all-time favorite covers just in general, because Jim Lee is, a famed artist. When he's not overworked is when he's at his best. And I think during this run, I don't think he was doing anything else, and his art really shines. There's an amazing cover of just Bruce and Dick just running towards the camera, for lack of a better term. And not in like a Batman 66 kind of way.
Not like the vintage Batman kind of...
No, it's an amazing cover of the two of them. Are you trying to find it?
Yes. It's not in the cave. Oh yeah, by the way, when did Lex Luthor become president?
Oh, in the 2000s.
Oh, because he definitely was president, and I was confused by that when they said, oh, LexCorp and Lex Luthor, president of the United States. I was like...
But I like the Catwoman relationship. I like that there's trust, and I also like that he has to second-guess himself.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a pretty iconic moment when he lifts his cowl up and like shows himself.
Or even the kiss. And I mean, we're dealing with Jim Lee art, so everyone is like the prettiest versions of themselves possible.
Yeah.
And it distracts him the entire time. He keeps going like, I kissed her, and it just throws him off the entire time. And so much about this book is about throwing Batman off his game and trying to distract him. So you have to wonder, like, was this part of the plan, or is it something that's happening independently? We don't know, because we do have Catwoman being mind-controlled, like you said, by Poison Ivy, and we also get one of the most iconic Batman-Superman fights in this book.
Oh, it's a great Batman-Superman fight.
Yeah, like, probably people always kind of point to it as being, like, one of the big two. Like, Hush and Dark Knight Returns are kind of the two big Superman fights. And it's a great fight. And because Superman is being mind-controlled, like, he's not holding back like he normally would if the two of them were fighting. He's legitimately trying to take Batman out. But Batman has some contingencies. Like, he has his kryptonite ring with him, and he tries to...
Which Superman gave him.
Yeah, and he tries to lie to him. And I love this... I'm not going to spoil it here, but the solution for the fight itself, how it gets resolved, also comes down to Batman's trust. And I love it. It's a great ending to a fight.
Yeah, because Batman's like, I know Superman, and I understand that this is what's going to happen. And
yeah.
So he's kind of has that planned out a little bit, which I kind of like.
Other big things that happen, and I guess spoilers if you don't want to know, this also came out a while ago, and we're talking about a resurrection.
Yeah, 15 years ago.
Yeah, a resurrection that has been well established at this point. But this book starts talking about a lot of the Batman history and a lot of the Batman lore, and they try and work it in kind of subliminally, which I like. Like, if you haven't read this stuff, like you haven't, what'd you think about the Jason Toddness of it? Like, they introduced that idea pretty early on to remind you, like, hey, there's a dead Robin.
Yeah, and it's like, he really kind of it shows Batman's regrets over him. And I always thought, like, for him, Batman's favorite Robin was Dick Grayson, but it obviously isn't. It's Jason Todd.
I think his favorite Robin is Tim, but, it's all debatable. Jason, quick history of Robins. Dick, parents are killed in a circus. Batman takes him in as his ward. Then he kind of graduates and leaves and becomes his own thing.
He was the first person that wasn't Alfred that Batman ever revealed himself to.
Yeah. And then Jason, there's two different origins for this, but the one that people usually lean on is that Jason was found in an alleyway trying to steal the tire off the Batmobile.
Oh.
And Batman's like, I like your vandalism. Wanna be Robin?
Oh, well, there it is.
And then Jason dies, and then Tim comes into the picture. He's able to figure out that not only is Bruce Wayne Batman, but also Dick Grayson is Nightwing, and goes to Dick. He's like, hey, man, you gotta lighten this guy up. He's like, I'm not doing that anymore. So he's like, all right, I shall be Robin. Thank God we all have jet black hair and basically look the same. Although the Jason was later retconned to have red hair, and that Batman just dyed it so he looked more like Dick.
He likes Dick Grayson.
Jesus. You respect him more than that. He deserves it.
Yes.
He has the best butt in the DC universe.
Dick Grayson?
Yeah.
Oh. Didn't we have a discussion about this?
Yes, we talked about this.
Yeah, okay. No, okay.
So Jason...
So then who the hell is Terry McGinnis?
That was just... Oh, now it's in the books, too. That was just for the TV show that got made up.
Is he the new Batman?
He was a future Batman who then turned out to be a clone of Bruce.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
But, so yeah, they hint a lot at, like, they remind you that, hey, Jason's dead. Isn't it sad that Jason's dead? Jason Todd can never come back. He used to be one of the rules of comics. Anyone can come back in comics except for Bucky Barnes, Jason Todd, and Uncle Ben. And now 2 out of 3 are back.
It'd be a cold day in hell if Uncle Ben came back to life.
Yeah. But, so yeah, let's talk about Jason. You do it.
So, Jason is kind of back to life because somehow Batman
Or
ends
is
up...
he?
I don't know. Is he?
The answer
is
yes and no.
yes and no. No, technically no in Hush, but yes in the bigger world, I guess.
Yeah.
But Batman's like, this is interesting because A, you should be dead, but B, you're no longer dead, but you're older looking, so this makes zero sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, so the idea...
Which is a nice little subtle piece of, like, storytelling, like, hey, look at this thing that should be throwing you off, but Batman's like, yeah, I'm definitely confused and concerned and definitely emotionally compromised at the moment, but you're not really Jason Todd, so I'm going to get over it real fast.
Yeah, they go to Jason's grave, which no one is supposed to know about, and Jason's body is gone, and then an adult Jason Todd kidnaps Tim Drake. He's like, I'm going to kill this pretender because you replaced him with me after I died. You know, when the Joker beat me to death and then blew me up. Overkill, but, you know.
Yeah, well, making sure.
He had diplomatic immunity at the time. That's a weird part of that story.
Diplomatic immunity never works out well. Ask that guy from Lethal Weapon.
He had like diplomatic immunity from the Middle East. It was weird. That story kind of falls apart in that regard. Ignore that.
Okay.
But Jason comes back and just beats the hell out of Batman, who's been tired, weakened, bloodied, and the
skull fracture.
Yeah, and Jason is just screaming at him like, "You let me die! How could you let this happen?" And as mentioned later on, has kind of an unnecessary dramatic reveal. He's wearing a mask underneath the mask because you're supposed to think that he's Hush.
Oh,
because he takes off all the bandages and he's still wearing like the Robin mask.
He's not Hush.
No, but that's kind of the fake out. But what happens later on is we discovered that Jason's body is actually gone and Batman doesn't figure out where it is. So there are 2 different versions of this. Basically, it turns out Clayface was really pretending to be Jason.
He was pretending to be a lot of people in this.
Yeah, he is.
He's got identity issues.
Jason, this was so well received, DC did end up bringing Jason back, and they retconned Hush to say that the person that Batman actually fought was a resurrected Jason Todd, and he switched places with Clayface so that Batman wouldn't really catch on. There are 2 different versions of Jason's resurrection. One of them, and we're dealing with comic book logic, so when I say believable, is kind of a tough pill to swallow. In one version, Jason is thrown into the Lazarus pit and is resurrected and spends a few years with the League of Assassins. Another version is Superboy punches reality so hard that it breaks and Jason is resurrected.
Item 1 is more plausible than item 2.
You can't describe what happens any other way than he punches reality so hard that it breaks.
Superboy, you need to get your stuff together because that's not how it works around here.
Yeah, no, it's
not
weird.
In these parts.
Thanks, Infinite Crisis.
Oh, it's Infinite, all right.
You weird-ass story.
So anyway...
Boy, that was a confusing book to read.
Oh, Two-Face. We never mentioned Two-Face was involved, too. Did we? Yes, we did.
And we said he's there.
Yeah.
He's back, but he's cured, or is he?
Not really.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Once a psycho, always a psycho. But the cool part about this is, like, as it's going along, this mysterious person with bandages over their face, which kind of reminded me of Rorschach.
I guess a little, yeah.
A little bit, minus the perpetually moving ink blot on his face.
Yeah, it's just a face wrapped in bandages. We have all these misdirects of who is Hush, and, we don't need to give away who Hush is.
No, but there's a lot of people who Hush isn't, and there's a lot of, like...
It's not Jason, and it's not Two-Face.
And it's not the Joker. But there's a lot of fake reveals as to, like, who Hush could be. Because, like, this person with bandages gets, like, the bandages get removed multiple times, and it's not Hush. Two-Face, also, one of those fake reveals.
I mean, we've read some of Jeff Loeb's stuff in the past. He wrote Long Halloween. We've read that.
Yep.
And he's done a bunch of other Batman work. But for me, this story, even years later, there's a lot of stuff from that era that I'll go back and be like, it's kind of the time. But this still holds up for me. Like, it's strong art, it's strong storytelling. It gives you kind of an overlay of the Batman mythos. Granted, some of it has changed in the last 15 years, but still, it kind of gives you a strong base of what you're looking at.
I liked it. There was a lot going on for me. But like you said, you get a little taste of every Batman villain. You get a little taste of every history. You get to see Batman kind of like,
I think it's a good introduction book to the character.
What was interesting,
or even DC as a whole.
Which I thought was interesting. Like, the one thing I did like though is, like, Batman. You see him, like, at work. Like, everybody except for one character, he's able to find flaws in what they've done. And there's only one character who is, like, kind of normal in the way that they operated and how he busted him, the Riddler. And the Riddler ends up being really one of the key marionettes behind all of this.
Yeah, this was the first of many attempts that are still even happening today of, no, some of the stillier mainstays that kind of got stuck there by default, which is kind of what happens with comics. It's like, oh yeah, this is definitely still a credible threat, even though people deal with it. The first of many attempts to make the Riddler a badass.
Well, I mean, he...
Maybe not the first, but...
did spend a lot of time in the Lazarus Pit, apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
And...
like, you came in tonight, you're like, what the hell is a Lazarus Pit?
Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's a pit where you go to be resurrected.
Yeah.
But if you're dead, how do you get to the Lazarus Pit?
You get dropped in there.
Oh.
I mean, Ra's al Ghul, he's like 1 billion years old because he just keeps on popping himself into them when he gets really old.
He's like, oh, time to go and have a...
rejuvenates himself, goes super crazy. Except that one time that Batman disintegrated him in space and put his ashes into the vacuum of space, and Robin's like, you've killed him. He's like, have I, Robin?
Probably.
Have I?
Probably not.
Yeah, you did. You disintegrated him and put his ashes into space. How the hell did he come back from that?
He's Ra's al Ghul, man.
Doesn't work, doesn't make sense. Disintegrated, ashes in space.
Also, Batman's not a killer, like we've mentioned before.
He was right there.
He needed to. Even this, like, he gets shot by Jim Gordon. Jim Gordon shoots Batman.
He deserved it.
He was about to kill the Joker.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great beat. Like, Batman is beating the Joker to death. He's gonna kill him, and Jim's like, for as bad as he's done to you, he's done worse to me, and I won't let you cross that line.
It's true. He did paralyze Barbara.
And then rape her, and then do a bunch of weird stuff to Gordon.
Yes.
Yeah, so Joker's fun, right? Good for a laugh.
Did we ever really confirm that Joker did rape her?
I'm gonna say yes.
Oh.
If you disagree, that's fine.
All right. Well, I don't know. Like, we had this debate.
That's
when we
also
were Killing
fine.
Joke.
But yeah, that's kind of Hush. It's one of my favorites. It still stands up for me over time. There's some that I've read in the past that I'm not gonna say I've turned against, but have lost their impact for me. Killing Joke being a big one.
Yeah.
Like when I first read it, I was like, oh wow, and then I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. Not bad, but it doesn't grab me like it did originally. It's
more of a one-off.
Rereading Hush, it still holds up great for me. Some of what Jim Lee is doing with the art feels a little dated, like he never quite got over like the TNA of the 90s.
Yeah. It's a lot of booty.
Oh, everything is very round and very symmetrical in this book.
Yes. Well, they've been working out. They've been hitting the Gotham City gym. Squat rack, baby.
Not just those.
Oh, well, at least the squat rack.
Yeah.
Even Batman has hit the squat rack.
I think one of my favorite scenes with Batman in this is he's getting patched up by Alfred, and he has his shirt off, and he is just scarred to all hell.
Oh, but he's jacked.
Yeah, but
chiseled.
But Catwoman is looking at all these scars. She's like, "What's this? What's this? What's this?" Including like a massive like scar, or more like 4 scars that he has across his chest that came from her claws in like their first confrontation.
You're like, oh, that's you, baby.
That's a great scene. I love the story. It's a detective story. There's a ton of character beats. You get a whole big overlay of the Batman mythos. The art is great. Just strong front to back. This is one of the best Batman stories out there. Highly recommended. And we still didn't tell you who Hush was, so haha. We spoiled a bunch of other things.
We're really Hush on that.
Who cares? Damn it. All right. Hush kicks ass. Read Hush. Buy Hush.
I would agree.
Some strong ass Batman.
Yes. And now we move on to letters to the editors.
Now for my favorite part of the show. What's that say? Talk to the audience. Oh, God, this is always dead.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
I got one email that had 4 questions in it, and I keep on putting it in my unread file. I feel like we started it last week. I'm just going to go through those 4 questions.
Okay.
So I can just keep feeding off that email. That doesn't mean don't send me more. Please send more questions. We're set for a while, but, you know, the more the merrier.
Be cool to do a mailbag show again.
Yeah, so it would be. We'll see.
That was a fun show.
I don't know, because we have some time coming up. I have us planned through like January right now. I'm not that far ahead anymore.
Oh, so we're going to get to the January doldrums.
Hey, I got some stuff planned. I got some good stuff. Well, it's not true. I have some good stuff and some bad stuff planned.
It's been a while since we've seen anything bad, but again, that could change this weekend, so.
Oh, you wait till January. I've picked out some real gems.
Really?
A couple of, old 60s books that I read through a bunch of stuff. I'm like, I gotta find the worst of the worst. I got some golden turds coming up.
Oh boy.
Anywho, question. I feel like this is for more you than me, but hey, I have an answer anyway. What would be your wrestling entrance music?
Oh.
I have an answer.
That's like, for me or for yourself?
For myself. Oh, that should be so good. Oh, we should do that too. And then give one for the other person. Mine is rock lobster.
I can see that. That is an amazing question. I'm still floored by the question.
All right, so yeah, that's my personal one. I would say rock lobster, baby. I'm coming like do 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 do.
Would you be dressed up as a lobster? What would your character name be?
Apparently, rock lobster.
The rock lobster.
Then the Rock would sue me for copyright infringement.
Probably gimmick infringement. Oh, that's a
Stone lobster. It is.
Whew. Granite
Stone Cold
lobster.
Steve Austin would get me. Damn it!
You're screwed, man. Especially where you drink a lot, you couldn't do any of that. Is this a question from the Ric Flair 30 for 30 last week, which was friggin' awesome, by the way?
I don't think so.
He's telling. I'll answer the question, but you'll like this. He's telling a story on this 30 for 30. Which do you know what 30 for 30 is? If you don't know what it is, it's like ESPN has these 30 stories, like it's like a movie. It's a mini documentary, right? And it's about Ric Flair. He's telling a story, and they have like a cartoon overlay, which the cartoon overlays were pretty cool. They kind of got it was mixed reviews. I liked them. About when he went to a sports psychologist, and the sports psychologist goes to Ric Flair. So how many times? The first question Ric Flair says, "How many times a day do you masturbate?" 2. Do you drink? Oh yeah, 10 beers and 5 mixed drinks.
A day?
A day. And he goes, how many times a week? 7 days a week. Really? For how long?
Holy hell.
And he's like, yeah, for almost 20 years. He said, by the time I was done, I had that son of a bitch on the couch talking to me. But Ric Flair was drinking 10 beers and 5 mixed drinks a day for over 15 years, every single day.
That's insane.
He also estimates that he slept with over 10,000 women. He's like, being real conservative with that, too.
That seems unreal.
Different town every night, multiple girls. Over 20 years, 300 days a year, you're out traveling.
It's 365 days.
360, well, give him some days off. He said...
He doesn't take it off of drinking.
He goes, yeah, I tried monogamy and it sucked.
What the hell is this? Okay,
but you 10 beers and 5 mixed drinks a day.
Insane. So what's your wrestling entrance music now that I have chosen Obsidian Lobster?
Rhyolite Lobster. Amethyst Lobster.
Move it along.
I don't know. That's hard. That's a hard question. I really don't know what my wrestling entrance music would be. Huh. See, the music goes into what would your character be? The music drives the character. I really don't know. Huh. What would my wrestling music be right now if I had to choose a wrestling theme? See, I go through these waves of music that I really like and oh, that speaks to me. What do you? Ooh, yeah.
No.
Enter Sandman? No, that's kind of overplayed. And there was a guy, Sandman, who had that. So you want something that's got some good, big electric guitar, big time feel to it.
So why don't you do Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills? You know,
ooh, yes,
about Native
yes.
Americans that has nothing to do with you.
That's a great song. I used to listen to that. I used to play a game called SSX. It was a snowboarding skiing game, and that was on there. And whenever I would go skiing with my buddy Devin, we would crank that song. I'm gonna go with Run to the Hills.
So the song about Native Americans.
Well, I was gonna lean towards that, or I was gonna lean towards something like Creed, maybe.
Something just terrible.
Yes.
Some sad rock.
What would you give me for a theme?
That dopey ass Nickelback song that was in Spider-Man, and this is the hero can save us. Not gonna stand away. Just dopey ass.
Oh, you know what I was
rock.
thinking? Actually, Motley Crue. Some Motley Crue would be good. What about 18 in Life by Skid Row?
Sure.
For you? No, I don't think Rock Lobster. Maybe Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
That would be the worst.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
That song just had its anniversary. It was. Yep, I think I'd give you Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
You know what? I kind of want that for my wrestling.
There you go.
Music. My God, that would be the worst.
No, but you want your wrestling music to get the crowd pumped up for you. I don't know if Hero by
You're gonna be
Chad Kroger and
you want something just sad. You can have 1 week by Bare Naked Ladies.
that's not gonna get the job. That's the wrestling music of a man who's gonna get his ass kicked.
I know.
You know, the world champion isn't coming down to 1 week by the Bare Naked Ladies. It's been 1 week since I got my ass kicked on this wrestling show.
Or even worse, if you had
Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue. That'd be a good one. I'd come down to that.
Going back to the 90s. The worst one I can think of, dopiest, Blink-182's Adam's song. Just have like a sad song about... I'm going to have a song about suicide as my wrestling entrance theme. That would be...
Maybe I could give you something from, like, by the Bloodhound Gang. Give you the Bad Touch by the Bloodhound Gang.
One of the 2 songs they have?
One of their greatest hit.
All 2 of them? What's the other one called? Fire, Water, Burn? Is that it? Is that what it's called?
Probably. They had the Bad Touch, and they had another one. Maybe some Green Day. I could give you like some Green Day. I was thinking of like Loser by Beck. I could just give you that.
I like that song.
I'm trying to think of like songs that say like I'm an ass. Oh yeah, I could Asshole Son. There you go. That's your.
It's Black Hole Sun.
What? Close enough. Karen's like, yeah, because he won't tell me what he's doing in February. I do have an asshole son.
Go with the Dennis Leary version. I'm an asshole.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that was a classic parody song.
Now that we're just naming random songs.
That was a great question. Thank you. That was an excellent question.
Had nothing
Damn.
to do with comments. It's
that
fine.
one.
Whatever.
That really got my mind going.
Not that hard. You're like, asshole scum. That song that it's not.
That was Asshole Son. That was the parody of Black Hole Sun.
That's what my dad used to call it. I forgot. Sorry.
Oh, was that just what he called you?
Yes. That was his version of a parody song. Asshole scum. Won't you come? He killed himself, remember?
You know what? Actually, I'm going to do you a favor. You can have Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
It's a good one. I like that song. I'm just having such a good time getting my ass kicked.
Having a ball.
Just dying on...
Getting kicked in the balls.
Yeah.
Don't stop me now.
Fantastic.
We should have more fun like that every week.
Talk about wrestling entrance music?
No, just like, those are great questions. I like that we gave each other a song, too. I'm going to create a Zach's Wrestling Mix for you. I'll burn a CD. I'll doodle on it.
I don't have a CD player.
Oh, that's a problem.
I guess I could throw it like in a DVD player and play it through a television.
I guess you could.
I don't know if my car has one. I guess it does. I don't even know. I don't use it.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I actually used a CD.
Yeah.
I probably somewhere still have a spindle of CDs, like, unburnt.
I have a whole box of them, my old ones. I mean, they've all been burned onto a computer. It's funny about the ones that, like, if you listen to, like, the MP3s, like, on really scratched CDs, how it's still just like...
Yes.
Whatever. All right, that's the show.
So, where can we find you?
editorsnocomics.com on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. $1 a month will get you this show a day early every single week, and my other show, the Buffy Back Issue Bin, which in a few weeks will have a fun new intro.
Ooh.
Well, because we have, like, famous people intro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you've never listened. You don't know.
No, I know.
We got a new person to do an intro for us, which came out really good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Big time. Next week, big week, Black Friday. Going to be open on Black Friday?
Oh, yeah.
Even more importantly, Small Business Saturday.
Both. I'll announce a thing next week, mostly because I haven't decided yet. Like, I've been so straight out. I went to the dentist this morning, and I was looking at their calendar, and I'm like, oh my god, next week is Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I didn't even realize.
It's sad that you had to go to the dentist to have your moment of clarity as to what time of year it was. The snow in the air and the Christmas music now on the radio waves, not enough of an indicator.
Oh my god, yeah, I was there. I was like, is that actually next week? Is
that
what's going on?
So will you do something? You haven't made up your mind, but you probably will do something different for Black Friday and Small Business Saturday.
They'll be the same thing. I'm doubling
down. Are you gonna have a doorbuster? Are you gonna be open at like midnight?
No, God, no.
Can you imagine? What if people lined up outside the store for like a doorbuster? Your door's not very big, first of all.
Yeah, no kidding.
People would trip on the way up the stairs.
Yeah, I'll do a thing. I haven't figured out what it is yet, but I'll announce it next week probably. Just because I literally didn't even think about it until today.
Oh.
Because I've literally worked nonstop for 6 days. We've no breaks.
If I had $1 for every time you said I've worked 6 days straight, I could be a Patreon subscriber for 4 months.
I'm a tired man. I'm a tired man. Last night it got real bad. I kept on trying to like do stuff around the house, but it just became like nonsensical and actually destructive.
Oh, that's not good. You did call me Sunday night at 10:45 saying I have a weird request for you. Can you come over and maybe help me with this mouse underneath my refrigerator? And then you follow it with, oh, by the way, are you awake?
I couldn't lift the fridge and kill it. I needed help with one or the other.
I felt bad because in the moment I was like, I'm kind of getting ready for bed. I'm also kind of watching the Patriots.
But I'm also kind of in the mood for murder.
Well, given our past history with rodent removal, I was really kind of concerned about where you were going with that line of logic.
We've We've taken out some animals in the past.
We also had one that just would comply.
Talking about the squirrel that jumped at my face?
No, I'm talking about the trash can mouse.
No, don't talk about the trash can mouse. Yeah, side note, I didn't kill the mouse.
You released it into the wild.
I hucked it into the wild. It's probably dead.
So I want to know who lifted the fridge. You or the co-host of the Buffy Back Issue Bin?
I did. And then there was some sweeping with a broom. And then I was like, go by the door. I'm going to be running.
So here's my bigger question. Why didn't your cat take care of this for you?
That's what I want to know.
You need to have a sit down with Charlie.
Well, he at least identified that there was a mouse there. I'm like, why are you focusing under the fridge? There's nothing there. Then I just see this tail recede. I was like, son of a bitch.
What is he, a pointer cat? Yes, over here, please.
Basically. Look, he's out. Possibly, probably dead. But I didn't do it.
Could have been an owl. Could have been nature.
It was really cold. It was probably nature.
Well, maybe he found his nice family.
Or maybe it was the, 20-foot throw into the woods.
I think it's really more emblematic of a systematic problem that you have a rodent infestation in your house.
It's the first one.
I'm on over 2 years in my house. Never seen one yet.
Yeah, seen, exactly. Oh yeah, and I guess that's the end of the show.
I'm on Twitter.
At Junior Rich.
280 characters, baby. I use 140 of them.
And we'll be back.
Always leave them wanting more, that's what I say.
We'll be back next week to talk about what has to be the best Justice League movie. Because, I mean, come on, we saw the other one.
Oh, we did.
This has to be better. No matter what happens, this will be the best Justice League movie of all time.
Wow, that's mind-blowing.
Yeah, right? It literally cannot be worse than what we saw.
You've just set us up for abject failure.
That'd be hilarious if the other Justice League movie was better somehow.
Doubtful, because I bet the Flash has... Well, no, I don't think the Flash has a job in this one either.
But maybe he's less useless? Maybe?
Maybe. Well, this one has Batman, so it can't be that bad.
Yeah, because the other one didn't.
Yeah,
they just had chubby Martian Manhunter.
Man, that guy from MASH really let himself go.
You know, chubby's a real kind word for how he looked.
And you're going against the Weatherman. That was the villain.
I'm like, oh.
This has legitimate villains. The other one, the Weatherman.
They didn't even do Weather Wizard. They just made one up.
Yeah.
With his weather powers of lasers. Doesn't make sense. All right, we'll be back for Justice League.
The bar is incredibly low.
Yeah, no kidding.